All right, it's good to go.
All right. Welcome, everyone, to this week's Tech Talk at the Tech Academy. We have Max Crismon here with us discussing getting noticed on LinkedIn. And Max is a veteran, mentor, motivational speaker, and a recruiter who knows how to get people into technology careers. So he's going to be sharing his LinkedIn with us and giving us advice. And feel free to participate and ask questions. We've got our chat box, and Rick will leave a little note in there so everyone can find it in the top right corner. And I will let Max take it away. Thanks so much for being here, Max.
Yeah, thanks, Kenzie. It's a pleasure to be with you guys. I've actually given a tech talk for the Tech Academy a couple of years ago, pre-COVID. So, have worked with Tech Academy for quite some time now. Actually, about 4 or 5 years. I've been working with different students from Tech Academy and love the organization and just all the things that you guys do and all the valuable stuff that you guys are learning for the tech world. So the first thing is just a little bit about me. I have been in technology for roughly 5 years now, so not a ton of time. But I've been in recruiting and business for the last 15 years. So I've been consulting in technology where I essentially go in and I help people find jobs. And using outside of the box thinking, I do have a consulting business that I run and take people one-on-one, and basically in 6 weeks go from knowing very little about how to get a job in the new world to they are running it on their own and they fire me because they don't need me anymore. So that's kind of the goal when I do consulting and I work with people. It's kind of a crappy business model, honestly, because in 6 weeks I teach them everything I know and then they don't need me anymore. And so I lose a client. So that's kind of how that works. I actually also run a meetup group called Get Hired Cascade Talks. It originally started Get Hired in tech, and then it's kind of evolved over the last 3 or 4 years to Get Hired Cascade Talks. So you can join us as well. I don't do many presentations on that. I give that, kind of like what I'm doing, I give that to somebody else, but it's almost all tech focused. We also have a YouTube page. So you can go to Get Hired Cascade Talks on YouTube. And we have probably 20 videos. We're really starting to build a library until COVID hit. We've got everything from informal interview training. We have a live whiteboard. We had a student from Washington State University come in and we did a live JavaScript whiteboard interview. And so that's really cool. He was an actual student. He wasn't prepped. My friend is a hiring manager. He spoke very high on the tech side of things, on programming. And I went in on the other side. So we have a ton of informational videos in there that you can check out. So that's a little bit about me and kind of what I do. I love the Northwest. I've been in the Portland, Vancouver area for about 6 years, grew up down in Southern Oregon, traveled all around the world in the military and moving from place to place, been all the way up to Alaska, been all over the country. And I have to say that this is my favorite place in the whole world. There's only one place that would drive me away from that, and that is San Diego. But I can't afford San Diego, so I will be stuck here for the next, 20 years. So with that said, I'll kind of get into it. How many people, and if you could just put in the comments, this is a little different because I'm not in front, but I want to make sure that people are in LinkedIn or have a LinkedIn profile. If you don't, you need one. Like today, after this talk, you need to have LinkedIn if you're in technology. It's not if I have one, it's you need one now and it needs to be good. The one approach that I have when it comes to working with people is I'm very upfront, very to the point, because there's a real cut and dry method of finding work, especially utilizing LinkedIn. LinkedIn can be a phenomenal resource for you, but if you're not using it correctly, it's just another social site. That's all it is. And there's a big difference between using it correctly and just having it and thinking you're doing it right. So there's a lot that goes into it. I used to teach this class over the course of an entire week. So I kind of go through and I'm going to give you the highlights. If you need any more information, feel free to look me up on LinkedIn. In fact, I would highly advise that you do connect with me on LinkedIn. I've got over 500 recruiters in the area that are technical recruiters. My network is fairly vast, as soon as we'll get into this. As soon as you connect with me, you're now a second connection to all of the recruiters and people in my technology sphere right away. So in anyone that I give this presentation to, if you let me know if you find a job or if you're looking at the technology, if you want a connection, and if you sat through my class, say, hey, I sat through your class. If you send me a request, said, hey, I sat through your class at the Tech Academy on this date. I know that you're connected with XXX person. Could you do an introduction? Absolutely. So that's one of those things. I will absolutely connect anyone with anyone as long as you sat through my class and your LinkedIn is up to speed, because I'm not going to send somebody to a connection I know unless their profile is up to date. It's just kind of one of my rules. Because I don't want to send somebody to it where it's not professional. They need to know, hey, and so that's what I do. So that's out there. If you have a good looking profile and you need a connection with anybody that I know, let me know and I'll get you connected. So what I'm going to do is go through my LinkedIn profile. It is not a technology profile, but every LinkedIn should be set up the same. It's just changing the verbiage that you're using and utilizing for your LinkedIn profile. So yours are going to be a little bit different than mine when it comes to the words, but I'm going to go through how you can get through that. So I'm going to see if I can not be an idiot and present, and we're going to let's see, best video and animation tab. Is it gonna be no, that's not it. I'm gonna do present now. I'm gonna just do the entire screen. Let's see, open system preferences. I'm not the technology guy, so all right. Is it going?
Yeah, not seeing it now.
Okay.
Now you clicked on the present now and your entire screen.
Yep.
And then
If you
choose
have
it and it
multiple
should come up.
screens, yeah, if you have multiple screens, you'll need to select which monitor.
I only have one screen. And it shows on here, like it shows share your entire screen. Chrome wants to share and I said share. Can't share your screen. Why? Worse. Let me try this one more time. Can't share your screen. Google Chrome might not have screen recording permission on your computer. I have no idea. Okay.
Are you on a Mac?
Yep.
That's probably why. I'll research it.
Did you?
Perfect.
Sorry. Do you want to try? Did it give you the option to do window or tab, or just an entire screen?
We'll do window or tab. Let me see real quick, and then it's not a big window. Share. Nah.
You can also send me a link and share it from my screen if you want.
That would be wonderful. Let's do that, and then I'll show you, kind of tell you where to go.
Yeah, put it in chat box, and I'll go there on my second monitor, and we'll try and I'll try and be the puppet.
Yeah, no issues. Yeah, and
is
then
it just your LinkedIn profile?
Yep, just go to my LinkedIn profile. That works.
All right.
I love my Mac, but there's some things that pop up. I'm like, oh man. I just converted to Mac too, so I'm not. It's like it's a new thing, but I'm finding there's things I'm like, gosh. Sometimes I'll get me back on a PC, but I love my Mac.
All right, is that presenting for y'all?
That is.
We can see it.
All right, here we go. Perfect. All right. So the first thing, let's just go. We're going to go over this real basic. Like I said, we're going to go over as much as we can, given the time permitted. Like I said, I usually do this in a week and really deep dive and like really do it, because there's that much content that people can do. So the first thing we're going to look at is the profile picture. What we want to make sure is really simple profile picture. We don't want to have anything other than our face and kind of a shoulder shot. Now, some people say, well, I don't have I don't have a professionally done picture. I don't have any of those things done. This was done with a ring light and an iPhone, right? So you don't need to get super, super crazy about it. You really need a white wall or a neutral colored wall. We'll just say that. You need some decent lighting so your face shows up, and you need a phone. Doesn't matter what kind of, some phone with a camera on it. That's essentially all you need. You get that on there and you put that up. Too often I see so many people out there with pictures with their, arm around their friend, or their, they've got it cropped out where it was something else. Like, it takes literally 5-10 minutes to throw on a collared shirt. It doesn't have to be the sport coat like I've got on, depending on, in tech, just a straight collared shirt and a blank background, and that's all you need. It doesn't need to be super fancy. That's all it needs. As a recruiter, I will tell you that there's been people without the good signs on there, and if they've got other things on there, I won't even really consider it because it's not professional. And that's kind of, it's you don't want to be overlooked because your profile picture isn't done correctly. It's a simple thing to do. So I just tell people, go ahead and just do it. All right. So then when you go down a little bit, have your name, and then you have the title right there. So veteran, mentor, motivational speaker, MSW grad student, and then I have a hashtag on there. The reason I do that is I set that up. There's two ways to do this. One, you can have your job title, or aspiring tech, whatever it is, whatever, aspiring programmer, or whatever it is that you want. I'm more in the let's go off and give a broad overview of the skills. It's the first thing that people see. It's the first thing that comes across. So let's go in and put something down like, who are you? What are you, right? Your job title is not who you are. That's what you do. This isn't the spot. This is the first thing. So when it pops up, you want to put down, why are people going to look at my profile? How's it pop up? Right? So you want to be pretty strict. On mine, I want people to know right away I'm a vet. I'm a mentor. I'm a motivational speaker. I do these things, right? And then right now I'm studying to get my master's degree. And then my hashtag. So I have a hashtag, Get Hired Cascade Talks, that I've been using for the last few years. If you go into, so if anybody wants to see any of the content that I have, I just literally, because I hashtag everything that I produce. So I put down a hashtag. So if you have a hashtag, and I would suggest if you're doing something, just create a hashtag that you use constantly. Doesn't mean you own the rights to it. No. But if you constantly do it, you're going to bombard everybody's information with that. And if it's really say, hey, you program something, or you have something that goes to a site, or if you have something and you have that hashtag on there, you can sit there and just put your hashtag so everybody knows, all right, well, I know that hashtag is going to, go somewhere where it's going to show their content. So it's one of those real kind of small things that a lot of people don't think about. But it really makes a big difference. People have found a lot of my content, a lot of my videos, a lot of the things that I've done just by going to that. And it goes up everything that I do. I just hashtag Get Hired Cascade Talks constantly. And then right underneath there on contact info, can you click on that, please? Okay, so this right here is real simple. You can have a variety of things. I'm pretty private when it comes to my information and my content. And I don't like sharing it often. You can, if you would like, if you're in job search mode, you can put down your phone number. I don't suggest it. I think LinkedIn's enough, but other people do like putting down, and you could put down your email and contact info. You can put whatever you want in there. Just be aware that, depending on your settings and everything else, it really kind of opens the door to a variety of things. Email, I tell anybody, if you have a professional email, or what I call it, just a straight up job search email. So if you're using LinkedIn and everything just strictly for job search, create an email only that, you're getting all your resumes, you're getting your contacts, all your things are set up through that email, so that if you get spammed out on it, it's not a huge deal because it's not your personal email blowing that up. So set up the blank email, and you can put that email on there. So that's one of those things where it's like, okay, that's easy. Just set up another Gmail, Hotmail, whatever account you want to use, and have that as your job search email that all this stuff's going to. And then, you just make sure you check it. All right, X out of that one. All right, and then go to more in that same section. Yep. Nope, that's not it. Okay, never mind. So in there,
So one thing I went ahead and sent you a connection request. I don't know if I might not have full access to your profile as me, but if you go ahead and accept that, haha,
I'm going to
gotcha.
right now.
Then I might have a better interface.
Smooth, Kenzie.
Jeez.
Tune into my tech talk next week. Scheming your way into LinkedIn connections.
All right.
Definitely.
So it should, if you refresh that, you should it should pop up as first. There we go. Perfect.
All right. I'm in.
So the other thing back on that section, on that top section, we don't click more on there. So there is a background page on there, or background. That's just something I love the outdoors. It's more about me. There is this big thing that when they first came out, when LinkedIn allowed you to put a background on your profile, people are like, oh, I want to just keep it simple. It's another way to stand out. When you're looking for a job, it's everything to stand out. And especially during COVID times and the face-to-face interviews aren't happening, and the interpersonal type things that are going on, and the way that we evaluate, the way that we get to meet people can only know what they see. And if you're in tech, the first place any recruiter is going to go is your LinkedIn page. So again, you're trying to describe your personality, and you're trying to say, hey, here's who I am. Here's what I love. Here's the things that I'm doing. You need to show it. So if somebody looks at this and they're like, man, he's got a bunch of trees and mountains, he must love the outdoors. That must be something he likes, because why else would I have a big picture of the outdoor? Like, so it's something about me that, conscious or subconscious, somebody looking at it and be like, oh yeah, there's a great big outdoor picture. Like, it's already telling a story about who I am as a person, saying I love, maybe it's, and you can tell it's not a big professional thing. Maybe he likes photography. So it brings up ideas and thoughts about who I am without getting, too far into my profile quite yet. So something to kind of look into. All right, go down a little bit. All right, so on these underneath, I don't see this because it's on hers. It's if you have it. What is Max's top skill? When you're looking at different people's, nope, go down. You went too fast. No, the other way. Go up. There we go. Sorry. I'm thinking about like the scroller. I'm like, okay, if I go down, it goes. Anyways. So on these, you can put down, you can mark these on anybody. They help out a little. LinkedIn is all about the algorithm, just like anything else. So as soon as you start clicking on things, it shows activity and that people are engaging within your content. So that's good. You want a little bit. It doesn't, in the sense of a recruiter, people really don't care because anybody can comment on anything. And I'll show you where it really does matter whether people engage or not. So we want to go down to the highlights. Don't need to worry about that. We want to do the about section. Okay. So this, if you take anything from my presentation, if there is one thing that you take home, you'll hear me say this in every single, I've got multiple videos of me saying this, multiple things. If there is one thing, just one thing that you want to take from this, is everybody getting it? If there's one thing that you need to take from this, this is it right here, okay? All right, so about section. This is just a general paragraph of who I am, what I do, a brief history. No one cares. No one cares. But here's where people care. Here's the secret sauce, right? Here's the spaghetti sauce. Here's the primavera. Here's the great stuff. Here's the Jack to my Coke. Wait, it's not 5 yet. Sorry. Anyways, keywords. So I'm going to go down to keywords, right? I'm going to go down and I'm going to look at talent acquisition. These are all job titles. Perfect. These are all things that somebody is going to look me up by. If they're looking for me, these are the words that they're going to put in what's called the algorithm to find me. If they are not in your profile at some point, they are not going to find you. This is not cheating. This is telling somebody, I want to be found. I want to be noticed. This is not, hey, I'm just throwing a bunch of words down. It doesn't matter. You want to be noticed. You want to be found. So and I'm not again, this is one of the, like, if I was there, I'd say, hey, how many, raise your hand if. Think about how many programmers. There's 31 people on this chat. Out of you 31, there's a few probably staff. There's maybe a couple other people. I'm guessing that 20 to 25 of you are most likely wanting to be a programmer someday. That's what you want to be. You want to go in, and because why else would you be at a tech school going into programming? You want to be a programmer one day. So if you think about this, and I'll give you a minute to think about it. How many, and maybe how about this? Somebody watch the chat box. I know you guys are tech folks. You can chat in. Usually I'd call you out and like make you speak. But I can't do that behind a screen. So in the chat box, I want people to guess how many terms are there for programmer. How many terms? I'm going to give you guys a minute. Type in the chat box, and then Kenzie, if you could take a look. I don't have the chat box open. How many terms are there for how many different job titles?
Do you want us to guess like the number of terms, or like throw out
how many job titles are out there for programmer?
Oh God, probably like 40. Okay, so I'm seeing 10, 12, 100, over 9,000, ... for sure. Confidence from Drew. And 50 question mark, not so much confidence from you, Michael. 30, 45, dozens for sure.
Wonderful. So you're all right. There are so many freaking things. It's just kind of a question, but that you're seeing my point, okay? So you're seeing why this is so important. But let's break it down. And so say we want to be a JavaScript programmer, and I don't remember what languages technically. What languages are you guys teaching now?
Oh, so many. So we teach Java, everyone learns HTML, CSS, JavaScript, SQL.
Sure.
We also teach a little bit of Python in the intro, and then we've got Python developer, JavaScript, Java and Android, mobile, games.
Yep. All of them.
Everything. Cybersecurity.
Perfect. So with that said, there's a huge, everyone that has a term programmer can be found on there, right? Those are all programmers of some sort. So if you have any, and listen to this too. So when you go into this, you can put down JavaScript. You can put down all the ones that right? But then here's the other trick. Say you're learning a language and you're not fully sure, but you want to be noticed, like you want to get into that field, so you want people to notice your profile. Put down all the ones that you don't necessarily know, but you're learning, because you want to be found. You want somebody to sit there and come in and say, hey, this is how I want to be found. I want to be known for this, right? Also put things down from other jobs, other resources, right? So programming, all those languages are in every single job field, every profession that you've ever thought about. Guess what? There is somebody that's coding all of everything in every single thing, from fast food to custodial work, like literally custodial work. There is programming, because now all the chemicals, all the things that are going behind there, they're all being coded. It's all being put in systems that are being coded. So literally every single profession that is out there, tire shops, they're programming, they're all getting out of it. So guess what? That's all skills, right? So you want to put down anything that you're interested in, or anything that you've done within that down there. You don't have to white label it. You don't have to go in there and anything special. You just need to throw all of those things in there that you have done or you want to be known for. The next question that people typically ask is, how do I think about all these words? How do I utilize, okay, I know there's all these terms, but what do I put in there? Like, how does this work? So then what I will do is direct you to a website called ONet, okay? It is called ONet. And if you just put that in, and it's onetonline.com, or no, if you put in a Google search, it's been a while, but if you put ONet down, it will bring you to this really cool site. Actually, Kenzie,
sorry, I had to run out of the room for a second because my roommate's dog is having a meltdown.
Oh no. Anyways.
But I'm back, and I
Drew
have a really
Sloan.
cool
Drew
cursor
Sloan.
for you guys.
Yeah, Drew Sloan just
Well-
popped up in the chat feed. So if we could pop open the ONET sites,
Yeah.
for LinkedIn, that'd be great. There we go. Perfect. Okay, so in the occupation search up on the top right, can you throw in programmer? Okay, here we go. This is what starts it. So go down and click show all occupations. So if
5.
anybody happened to see that, showing
435.
435 occupation for programmer. So there's a lot because and so you have to be specific, right? So what is it? What kind of programmers are we looking for? So click into, let's go on the very top one because the most common one is that computer program. So click on the very top one. Okay, so here we go. So a lot of people wonder, how do I get this in? And this is all going to play a part. ONET, while you're setting up your LinkedIn to be professional and have it all in here, ONET is going to be a really, really good friend of yours because of the fact it's telling you everything that you need to know. It's literally telling you what is hot, what's not, what terms, technologies are where it's supposed to be, all right? So if you go down to technology skills, so if you have one of these other if you have one of these other things, and we're only going to go through it, like I said, we're not going to super deep dive, but you saw all those terms in there. This is actually telling you different things that you can actually put in your profile. So in here, Amazon Dynamo, Elasticsearch. I know MongoDB is huge right now, right? MongoDB is out there. People love those people with MongoDB. NoSQL, it's huge. Many of these things. COBOL, I know, has been one for quite some time. So these are just some of the terms that you have that you can put in there. If you've got these skills, put them in that space, because if I am a recruiter, I'm going to do what's called a Boolean search. Okay, what that is it's a search string that's putting in. Say I need to find a developer that has NoSQL and they have skills in Apache Spark or whatever, and it's small things. And also they're doing, Microsoft ASP.NET. So I'd stick those in my search string. And as soon as I hit enter, it's going to pop up everybody that has those titles somewhere within the profile. Hopefully more than not, because that's how the algorithm works. So I'm going to go in and in LinkedIn, and I'm going to type in all these different things. If you have all those things, guess what? It's going to pop up. The other side of it, if I'm a recruiter, what it's going to do is first it's going to give me on the list of people that it's going to do, it's going to pop up my first connections, then my second connections, and then my third connections. So first connections are who you are already connected to. So if that recruiter is already connected to somebody else, they are first connection, right? So second connection is going to be like if you aren't connected to that certain recruiter, but you're connected to me, now you're a second connection. That is super, super helpful. So being connected to me puts you connected with almost 5,000 people. Out of those 5,000 people, I would say 80% of those people are here in the Northwest. So then all of a sudden, if you're connected to the 500 or 600 recruiters, and it could be more by now. I was saying that before. I think it's like close to 1,000 people hiring professionals, maybe even more, like a ton of hiring professionals, recruiters in technology and other things. Now, if any of those people look up those terms that you have in your profile and they pop it up, guess what? Now you're a second connection. And then what they'll do is they'll go in as a recruiter, be like, oh, they're connected with Max. Or say, no, I'm connected with Kenzie and I'm looking for somebody, and I know that Kenzie's reputable, and I know that she would give me the real scoop on somebody, right? Like they've got these skills or they've got no skills, or who are they? So I might sit there and say, I know that they're connected with them. There's a second connection. I want to find out a little bit more about them before I actually reach out to them. I'm going to contact Kenzie and say, hey, do you know such and such? I know that you guys are first connections on LinkedIn. Can you tell me a little bit more about them? Right? But that whole process, and she's like, oh yeah, they're great. Hey, I'd be glad to introduce you or recommend them, so on and so forth. Or I get a hold of Kinsey and I'm like, hey, how's this person? Like, I don't know, they weren't so great. Get rid of them. And so then I wouldn't contact them. But so that's how valuable. But none of that conversation ever starts unless I find you. I have to find you somehow on LinkedIn in order to make this happen, right? It just doesn't happen by chance. LinkedIn is specific for what you're looking at. And I have gotten a handful of jobs just through LinkedIn because I utilize it in the way that it's supposed to be utilized. And it's not hard. It's not some secret science that goes beyond it. It's learning the algorithm and putting some of this content in that is going to help you be recognized. It's all about being noticed. All right, go on down. Go back to that about section. Yep, open that up one more time. All right, so with this said, so all of these in here, again, if you only take one thing from this is one of those spots that you need to have this done. Please reference if you're like, oh, what did he say? How did he say it? Go in there and utilize ONET. You can, on that first thing, when you typed in just programmer, look through the list. There's 435 that came up. And then click through those and see, okay, what skills are they asking for with this? Oh, I've got those skills. Maybe I can be this kind of programmer, right? So you're in school. So diversify your LinkedIn. If you're like, oh, I'm just a SQL programmer, that's what I want to do. All right, great. So you're saying that you don't want a job in anything else? That's crap. Yeah, you do. You just because you want that one doesn't mean that you don't have skills that can get you in, especially as an intro level programmer. The market's tight. The market's tough. Like, there's no doubt about it. Like, I don't even try to sugarcoat it. It's a challenge. Once you get in, you're set. You're good to go. So why not, the Tech Academy is one boot camp in the country out of how many? Thousands of tech schools, right? Just here in the Northwest alone, we've got more tech schools per capita than almost any other location in the entire country. So you've got to think about, yes, that friend sitting next to you is your buddy and you guys can program together and you have fun. But guess what? When you graduate, they're now your competitor. Not in an awful way, but let's face facts. That person sitting next to you now that just graduated with the same exact courses, the same exact everything that you've got with very similar background, they're wanting to get a job just as bad as you do, correct? Correct. So make sure that you are doing everything that you can to stand out. LinkedIn is the first step of standing out because it's the first place recruiters, 99% of all technical recruiters from every single company are on LinkedIn, and that's what they're utilizing to find your search. Yes, have your resume on Indeed. Yes, have your resume on Monster. Yes, have it on all these other sites. Yes, have your GitHub ready to go. First things first, make sure that the recruiters can actually find you when you're doing it. Here's another tip. When you're utilizing LinkedIn, you start while you're in school, start connecting with recruiters now. Don't wait till you're getting ready, you graduate. Start reaching out to, say you want to work at Nike. Like, a lot of people want to work because people think it's an apparel company. It is not. It's a technical company. Nike is a technical company that produces apparel with the technology that they're utilizing. I've given speeches and been at Nike. Every one of those folks, all the talent acquisition people, and then all the recruiters that work for private companies, they're utilizing LinkedIn to find their folks. So you want to make sure that you are up to date on that. So with that, some of the other companies, just pretty much all of them are utilizing LinkedIn. So make sure that they can find you. All right. So we're going to, what time is it? How much time do I have?
So we typically do them from like 1 to 2, but we're pretty loose about, if you have time to go over, that's fine, with us.
And we usually open to questions at the end as well.
Okay, cool. All right, perfect. Then I'll keep, we're doing good. That's a huge section that we discovered. It doesn't seem like a lot, but it's huge. So, all right. Yeah, we're good. We're good. Just wanted to make sure I've got a good time frame. Okay. Go down to, keep going down to keep going. All right. So with this right here, just in their job profiles, you can go in and your experience, everything else, just put down your name, title, get it in there. It's pretty much, this is simple. Keep it as a resume. But with this, the difference between this and a resume is put down everything that you want. There is no length limit on resumes. I coach to have no more than 5 to 7 bullet points in LinkedIn. Fill it with all those words that we just put into keywords, but now just don't have the keywords. All those keywords here's the thing, is if I'm a recruiter and I say that you had Microsoft's ASP.NET, and I'm like, all right, cool, you got this. Tell me, why do you have that? What do you utilize it for? Now it's your chance to explain what it is that you have and how did you get it? Why are you talking about it? Why did your profile feed pop up? So be able to explain what it is that you have. This is your chance to do that. If it was just school, literally just put down, hey, I've learned it in school. This is what I've got. But then people say, okay, well, is that all the only experience you have? A lot of times, a lot of folks, yes, that's the only thing. That's where your GitHub comes in. And I'm positive everybody probably has GitHub and has that up to date and ready to share it at a moment's notice. I mean, if you don't, please get that in order. If you're a brand new student and you don't have it in order yet, you've got plenty of time, kind of. If I recall, most of those programs are like 7-9 months, and then some go a little bit longer. It's not it happens quick. Those tech schools fly by, and all of a sudden you're graduating like, oh my gosh, what happened? Don't let school get in the way of like that. You're going to school to advance your career or start a career. You have other things to do besides just this. So you need to make sure that you're in there, right? Make sure that you are doing all the things, and you chose this journey. So, utilize the journey. Utilize the people around you to be able to do that. Your mentors, the people there. So make sure that you have all the verbiage. So also the other thing in experience under the titles, that ONET website, it's going to tell you the verbiage that people are looking for. Like literally, it's going to tell you like, this is how they want you to say it. Here's the skill sets that they want you to have in those things. Here's the hot skills. So when you're looking and you're getting a lot of at tech school right now, you're getting a lot of information, and it's 1 or 2 layers deep on that information. You're getting a whole lot of information about a whole lot of programs, but you're getting a couple layers deep. You're not getting like way deep into one program, and that is fine. But you want to be able to go into here and really like utilize that. So what skills are you going to go in? It also, if you're looking at, if you're new, or if you're halfway through your program and you're like, okay, I really like this and that, and you're looking at the future, even, okay, after tech school, I want to get XYZ certificates. You can go back to ONET and you can start looking at it and say, okay, what is valuable? What is hot right now? Like you don't want to get a certificate just to get a certificate. You don't want to learn a language just to learn a language. You want to learn them so that you can get there and be employed. Now, once you're employed, you can learn whatever you want, but the goal is to be employed and be a candidate that's above everybody else, right? So you want to be able to really utilize all the skill sets that you've got. So utilize ONET. It's a great site. You can see you can spend hours in there. It tells you income, medium income ranges. It can tell you per profession, the outlook from what it's been, what it is. Fantastic. It's the only government website that I actually like. All the others are, they're government websites. So they're all, enough. Uncle Sam's probably listening to me. So anyways, we're going to keep going down. Okay. So education. Here's what I have to say about education. There's a few things that I go back and forth on, but I'm pretty clear and cut. If you didn't go to the school and you have a minimum of at least a year or two, typically 2 years, if it's a college, are you really alumni? Like, did you really go there for a length of time that you can say, hey, I really utilized the skills, right? And I know education's pushed, but I really have a strong feeling about, you need to sell yourself, but don't oversell yourself. If I see that somebody has their education on there, it means that they either got a degree or they were really close. I mean, there's a long time I had Oregon Institute of Technology on mine. I was 1 term away from having a bachelor's degree. But I literally spent like 4 years there going to school, and just life happened the last quarter I was there. So I put that down, right? Real close. Essentially think about it. If you have a certificate, you can for the school, just make sure you put certificate. Don't try to confuse people. Don't try to oversell yourself. And then when you get the degree, you can put that stuff down. And I made it very clear. So if you look at mine, Oregon Institute of Technology, I studied communication studies, 0 degree, right? I didn't get a degree from there. But then I chose to go back to school and went to school for 2 years, got my Bachelor of Arts from Washington State University. So I got that done. And now I'm in my master's program at North Central University. So with that said, now I put down, I haven't gotten my master's yet, but I'm putting down, here's my expected graduation date. Here's when I expect to get my master's degree. So those are just showing continuous education, different things. I have some certificates that I used to have. So anything that's expired, right? So I used to have some sales certificates that are expired. I had at one point, for a few years, I had my insurance license and it was awful. So I let that expire. So then I took it off my stuff. So anything that's expired that you don't plan on renewing, take it off. Don't try to oversell. Sell yourself, but do it ethically. Do it the right way. Okay, so down on volunteer experience. Let's keep rolling down. All right, cool. So on here, here's 2 ways to look at volunteer experience. One, you need some. So if you don't have any, please go get some. And it's a little tougher now with COVID, so it's understandable right now. But if you don't have volunteer experience, I highly recommend getting some. And you can, do the I don't even know if they're still open, but I know there was what was it called? It was downtown. There's a place downtown Portland that actually you could go down and give like free help, and I don't remember what it was called. I'm drawing a huge blank, but there was a free coding and free network and all kinds of things down in I'll have to get back to you guys and remember where that was. I'm having a butterfly brain, as my grandma would say. Don't remember, but anyways, get some volunteer experience in the field that you want to go into. But it's nice to be diversified. If you volunteer at your church, if you volunteer at a youth group, if you volunteer anywhere in the community, put that volunteer experience down. It matters. People like to know that you're doing something more than just one thing, right? If you're just a student, that's all you do. Where's the diversity in that? Like where, they want to know that you can do more than one thing, and that you just haven't been sitting around doing nothing forever. Put those things down. So the other thing when it comes to volunteer experience, if you're on a board, if you are doing something that's more yes, it's volunteer, you're not getting paid, but it's more of a job than it is getting paid, or then straight, volunteer, like I volunteer some hours for this and that, you can actually put that down as a job, as experience. If you have a title, say you are in some club and you are the treasury for XYZ club, and you actually have to put in a few hours a week of work every week for that organization or for whatever it is, you can sit there and use that as a job if you're not currently working, if you're actually doing it, right? You don't have to just because you don't have get paid doesn't mean that it's not a job, right? So be aware of that. And if you have any questions like, hey, I don't know if this would qualify, as long as you're actively doing it and you have a job title, you can put it up there. Like you can absolutely put it up there for experience. If you're, or if you're volunteered to help, kids code, or you're doing something and you have a title, you have a title to put in there. And an organization that is actually like kind of known, it's something that's, hey, yeah, this is a reputable thing. Like we can verify that you actually worked there. That works. Like that, you can put that on an experience if you don't have a ton on your work history, or if you've done things in the past, and you're like, hey, I've done these things. Like I was a president or I was a VP of X organization, or any job title, you can put it in there. If not, it's just straight volunteer experience. All right, we want to keep going down. Keep going. All right, we're gonna hit on this real quick because why not? Skills and endorsements. I battle with this one and have battled with this one for probably since they did it. And there's a reason for that. Can you go into that, Kinsey, for me? Okay. Kinsey, how long have I known you?
We've been chatting for a few weeks now.
How well do you know me?
I have an idea of your personality and whether I would want to continue to spend more time with you, but I don't know you very well.
How well do you know that I recruit?
I assume you must do a decent job if we invited you to come talk to our students.
Yeah, you assume. What about resume writing? Have you ever seen a resume that I've helped create and do with anybody?
Nope.
All right. But right now you could, if you wanted to, go and endorse me for resume writing. But do you really know I can do that? Very well. You assume because I'm in the profession that I can, because I'm doing this for a long time. But do you know that that's something I can do that you would put your name on?
Heard about Max's skill from others.
Do you see my problem with this?
It's kind of like just winning a popularity contest. It feels
That's all it
like.
is. Hey, like, no. LinkedIn is trying to get better with some of these skill sets on these. You can actually take skills tests now and you can complete that. Those are worth it, right? Because it's showing that you have the skill. It'll put, I don't do them because anything that I do doesn't like, it doesn't really matter. I didn't utilize them. I still think I think they're stretching, and I hope one day they just say, you know what, this is stupid, take it off. I don't know if they will, but you have to, here's the thing with this section. You have to have at least 10. According to the algorithm, you have to have 10 skills on there. But as far as like going in and like having people add them and add different things, I mean, it's like, okay, so-and-so said it, but does that really mean? Like, I don't push skills and endorsements at all on anybody. Like, I don't say, hey, can you go please add, can you go, say that I'm good at recruit? No, like, no, because they don't know. If I haven't recruited for them, then it's different. But here's where it does matter. So industry knowledge, you want to have all those in because again, the algorithm wants you in there. So you want to have as many as you can. Put those in there because that's also what the recruiters, what it's going to pop up. So the keywords and skills and skills. So those will pop up, especially if you're utilizing LinkedIn Learning, anything like that. It's gonna pull all of the things that you have and what you need to be able to go through those. So that's where all those things matter. So go on down. So have them, but don't beg for people to love your stuff. Here's where it matters. Okay. Especially in today's day and age where you're not able to, any HR, if you've ever been in HR and you've ever hired somebody, they can only answer a few questions. They can answer if they're doing it the right way. Now, legally, they can say whatever they want. But if you ever hear an HR person saying, yeah, just give them a recommendation, it never happens. They will answer whether you're rehirable. They're going to ask what the dates were that you were employed. And that's pretty much it. Like, that's literally all they want to answer. And the reason for that is because they don't want to get sued for malice and everything else that's going on. Like, they don't want to be sued for saying something that, and slander. They don't want to get in trouble for that. And there's a ton of cases out there. So if I want to get to know somebody, I want to go to their LinkedIn profile and I want to see that somebody's actually said something. Because as we were just doing, Kenzie would have a hard time writing something because she doesn't know exactly what it is. But here, there's a face, there's a name, and there's content. How many people are willing to put their face and their name on somebody's profile if you don't know what's going on? Like, if they don't truly believe it, because it's their name now. How many people are willingly able? Yeah, how many people, and in fact, how many people would you promote and putting your name, your good name in their profile if you didn't truly 100% believe that they were the people that, that you're recommending? So this is a valid way, especially now, to get somebody truly believe and know that you're doing what you're doing. So these are valuable. I've had people sit there and hire me just based off my reviews. Oh, I can't believe you worked with them. That's great. Oh my gosh, I saw in your review. The more you have, the better. But and you can ask for them. People are very, very nervous about saying, oh, I want to get, there's reviews. Ask them. It's just like a reference letter. But if you go down and you say, hey, I'm really trying to beef up my LinkedIn profile. Can you please, do this? Most people say, sure, absolutely. What would you want me to say? And ask them. They're not going to do it. Most people won't do it willingly. Every once in a while, somebody will without you knowing, but very rarely, because they're not thinking about it. They're not thinking about it, right? But I ask. If I know I've done a good job with somebody, and I don't pressure them to say, hey, would you mind, if you think that I did a good job for you, or if you think that my time and experience was valuable to you, would you please write me a review on LinkedIn? And most of them, like, sure. And some forget about it, and that's fine. Or they'll ask, oh man, you really helped me out. How can I help you out? How can I do this and that? And I was like, hey, it would be really helpful if you wrote me a review on LinkedIn. Right. And so that's a person face to a name with content. It's showing it's not just me saying, hey, I'm decent at doing what I do. It's actually people saying it. It's somebody else. It's somebody else's voice saying, hey, I'm good at this. So when you come to programming and tech stuff and everything else, don't just say, hey, I'm a great programmer, this and that. Have them maybe one of your teachers at Tech Academy, one that you spent a lot of time with. Have them validate that on your LinkedIn. Go and say, hey, I really love a LinkedIn reference, so that they're not, okay, because what they can say is, again, there's this deal with school. If you don't have experience prior to the school, it's like, how do you have experience? And the whole idea of, getting experience, you can't get experience unless you have experience. Very, 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 it's crap. It's absolute crap. I hate it, and I hope one day it changes. But right now, it's not. So you could sit there and have, whoever's one of your instructors say, hey, they're at a much, hey, they were a great student. They did work that was well above, the technical level, so they can validate and kind of say, hey, you've got these skill sets, and I'm saying it was much, at a higher level than a tech school had, where they've got, so they're boasting you up. They're taking all of these things and making sure that you're good to go. So that's where those recommendations are so valuable. And right there, you can recommend someone. On mine, it says recommend whoever, or on your own profile, it'll say ask for a recommendation. So it's really simple. They do it. You can put through, really, really simple, easy to do. Okay. All right, go on down. We're almost done. So, all right. All right. Yeah. So here we go. Go to see all on interests. All right. So here is also some of the things that are, again, locked into the LinkedIn algorithm that you want to have, but are also things that you want to be aware of. Try to stay neutral when you add any of these people. And when I say neutral, I'm talking about politically, religiously, anything like that. You want to say, if you're strong one way, not saying, don't have your beliefs, don't do anything that, but you do want to somewhat stay in the neutral realm. That's just professional advice. Take it, leave it. But if I see somebody on one far end or the other, you don't want an employer. Doesn't mean that they have to side with you, but it does mean that you have to, you need to come in with a neutrality. Doesn't mean you can't express your views or have your own views, but in the workplace, it's just not the place to do that. It's not the place to really, unless that's what you're wanting. So by all means, word of advice, influencers. So you want to have on all of these, you want to have the majority of 3 per, and with the exception of schools, you want to have a minimum of 3 to 5 that you're going to do. So influencers, I mean, Gary Vee, if you haven't learned about Gary Vee or don't know Gary Vee, I'd highly recommend his content. The things he does is just, it is. So, I mean, he has 4,600,000 followers for a reason. The dude is freaking cool. He's way cool. And then just go through some of the things to get on those and look up different people, and you get some stuff you don't have to follow them, just have them on your list. When it comes to companies, follow companies, right? So when you go onto that list right there, there's, a lot of minor tech and different things or different companies that I want to know information about. You want to have a few of those, right? So you want to go in, check it. It doesn't need a ton. And as you go along, you can like one of the companies, and you're getting content from them, so you can kind of stay up to date. And whatever company you choose is up to you. Just make sure you're doing like 3 to 5. And as you're doing this, you're going to go a little higher. So you can see a lot of my stuff is tech, a lot of it, a lot of tech, a little bit here and there, but the majority of it's tech and some of my other stuff that's in there. So we're going to go to the groups real quick. Yep. So again, different groups, have 3 to 5. Pick groups that you want, pick groups that are important to you, and kind of go from there. And again, this is just going through. It's not necessarily, going to look bad, or stay neutral if you can. And then also go in there and get content that you like to read about, and engage with the content so that you make it worth it. And then on there, it's the algorithm. LinkedIn wants you to have a fully developed profile so that they push your profile out. Schools, that's really simple. Good to put down the schools and that you want to follow. Of course, put the ones that you like, that you want to be around. And then you can put down the ones that are in there. So, all right, that is as much as I can go in an hour. I see that there's a few people leaving. So I want to open it up for questions.
Hey, Max, one thing I'd like to add, you spoke of volunteering. It took me a moment to look it up. I hadn't thought of it for a while, but Free Geek is a great
That's
place
it.
for. That's it.
That's the one I couldn't. Yeah, that's exactly the one I was looking at. Free Geek. Yep.
I just put the link in the chat, but we've had a few students that have volunteered there, so it's definitely a great place to get some volunteer time.
Yep, it's fantastic. I've had people that were told you need some experience, and so they went to Free Geek for a few months, and they were hired after that because they were actually utilizing all the skills that they learned in school. So if you can utilize those and volunteer at Free Geek while you're in school, just a couple days a week or 1 day a week or whatever it is, that's going to, you can put that down literally in there and say, hey, I did this and that's, so I'm teaching. So you're actually doing it. So absolutely utilize that place.
And Max, one question I have for you: what's your advice with the premium account with LinkedIn?
Sure. So there's kind of a one. I don't ever tell people to spend money that don't want to spend the money because it is expensive. I don't even know what it's up to. I don't know if it's $35 or $50 a month. It's moving up. I don't remember. I know that you can get one for free for a while. Let's see. So you can get in there. My advice is if you are hardcore job searching right now, it's absolutely, if you can fit it in your budget for your job search budget, it's worth it. The other thing though is that if you utilize your LinkedIn properly and you connect with the people that you're supposed to connect with, you won't need it for long because then you're going to be getting noticed. So if you do all the things that we kind of talked about today, I would say take that 30-day free trial and utilize the living, enter explicit there out of it because it will, make use of that free, send messages, all those things. But once you become first connections, that's the key about being first connections with everybody. So then you can send messages for free. That's the biggest thing is like, with the premium, you can send a message to anyone. You get so many messages. So definitely do that to do it. And first month and after that, if it's working, go for it. But it's great to have, but it's expensive. So usually people that are in the job search mode, it's, don't want to be spending money on that. So if you utilize that free one, long answer, but if you utilize the free 30 days and do all the things that I talked about before you do the free one, so that when you're using the free one, you're really maximizing it. So the recruiters are going and everybody's looking at a solid, good profile. So make sure your profile is complete before you do anything like that. You don't want to waste it.
Thanks so much for that. I do see a question in the chat from Ricardo saying, so if you're lacking in experience, is volunteering the way to go?
100%. If you don't have the experience, especially in tech, again, anything that you can do. The other thing that is kind of a secret, giving out freebies, free tips, usually I charge, not charging. Go set yourself up a sole proprietorship. So go in, set yourself, it's free, typically, maybe like $50, and become your own consultant. So, hey buddy of mine that knows tech, can you come fix my stuff? Sure. Pay me $1. Great. Now you are working for yourself and you are a consultant, and now you have people to vouch for your skill set while you're doing that.
That's a great idea.
It doesn't cost much. It literally, that's what I did a few years ago. That's how I started my business, was start a sole proprietorship. Whether it goes to an LLC one day, great. Like maybe you hit it off and you run your own tech company and consulting, but you can put that down on your profile. You can put down, so-and-so consulting or just your name consulting, and then put down all the things that you consult with. charge people $1 since you know that, hey, I'm learning. I'd much rather have your feedback. Guess where else that's going to go in your recommendations? Hey, they did great work for me. Da 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 da. So now you're creating work experience for yourself without even having to have a job.
Awesome. I see another question, and I have kind of a related question as well. So GS asked tips for how to adjust LinkedIn for a career transition into tech from something totally different. And adding to that, like me personally, I was trying to be a circus artist before getting into tech. And it's, at least once I get in front of people, they seem to find it super interesting. And it seems to be one of the things that actually works in my benefit. But I have no idea how many people might be dismissing me because of that outright. And I don't ever get in front of those people. So I don't really know, but I'm kind of curious. And then that kind of branches out into other social media stuff. Like, how much separation do I need to try and make? How much is it working in my benefit? How much is it really not working?
And can you repeat just the first part of I think I get it, but I want to make sure that I'm not.
Yeah. So tips to adjust your LinkedIn for a career transition into tech from something completely unrelated.
All right. So that's complicated. That's literally the, when I do like the paid one-on-one consulting, because that's a really complicated way to do it. What we do typically is we find the industry, like, the first question I ask is, was there anything that you did within the old profession that could be related to tech? Anything? Is there any relatability, right? So is there anything that you did, even if it's like, I've always been, and I hear the story, and I'm sure anyone that's been in tech, I always ask, how did you get in tech? Well, I've been working in my dad's garage, or I've been computing, like all these things on the side, right? And then you are there. And what happens is you get into a profession like, oh, I was kind of the go-to guy. I was the go-to girl, and I knew how to fix the computer. So, I didn't get paid for it, but I went around and I fixed things for, I did this stuff. So if we can relate any of those things there, if not, what we want to do is not hide what we've done, right? We want to go in there and just really start taking a look at what is out there when it comes to where we want to go, and we want to bridge the gap. So we want to find that puzzle piece and say, okay, technology. Okay, we'll start thinking about what did I do? And we really do a background. As it says in my thing, like, I love putting together the puzzle. So it's a really tough question because there's so many individual answers on how to do it. It just really, really depends on what you did, and putting those puzzle pieces, like, you've got to think outside the box. You've got to relate something to it so you can put all that information and make a really strong case for yourself. So it's a tough go. And it takes some of my people, like, it takes us 5 or 6 weeks to really get to it. So tough. But my biggest thing of advice is if you can try to find anything related from what you've done to where you want to go and what you want to do, that's kind of what I would suggest.
Thank you. That's great. And yeah, it looks like that benefited the person that originally asked. Thank you so much. Do we have any other questions? Y'all are welcome to unmute yourselves to ask questions too, if you prefer to do it that way. And if I missed a question, please let me know.
Yeah, you can raise your hand as well.
No, I'm just kidding. There's a little button at the bottom.
Go ahead.
I have a question.
Yeah, go for it.
This is Arlo. So I'm thinking similarly, like, being out of the field for like a year after all this COVID stuff, and then going back in. Is that like kind of being similar to switching careers in a way, just in terms of the more of the I don't know, the social aspect, or there seems to be something there. I'm just wondering if there's any other suggestions for kind of like re-entering after a while.
Sure. So number one with that is that there's like millions of people in your situation. Like, that's millions of people have been out and getting back in, and it's a new world out there. First thing I would suggest is attend, if you're looking for something in the near future in the Portland area, attend my meetup. When Cara Toronto is on there, because she's literally going over like what's coming to Portland in the tech world. So attend my meetup, meetup.com, Cascade, Get Hired Cascade Talks. It's gonna be lights out, like fire. when she presents. It's going to be fantastic. But to go, deeper into that, look at the companies that you're interested in seeing what they're doing. Like, see their new hiring processes and reach out to them back to LinkedIn, find some of their people, say, hey, yeah, what do you suggest, right? Because every company's different right now. You've got some companies that aren't going back to the office like literally at all. And so the outlook is different. Some are going hybrid and some are like, okay, let's work this out. So right now it's kind of a new thing. And people are going to be very understanding, but again, to put yourself above anyone else is reach out to people, say, hey, I've been out of the workforce for a little bit, because every company is going at a different way. It used to be, hey, walk in, see what's going on, talk to some people. So LinkedIn, to say, hey, yeah, not inquiring about a job, just saying, what you guys are doing and kind of get a general consensus. But the speaker that's going to come to my meetup in a couple weeks, she would be more than happy to kind of see what they're doing. And her name's Cara Terreno, and you can find her on LinkedIn. And if you connect with her, just say, hey, listen to Max talk. He said you would be a good person to reach out to. She's fantastic. So feel free to reach out to her.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Can everybody hear me? When it comes to the college thing, I went to UNLV for I have half as many credits as a bachelor's degree, and obviously I didn't finish. It does kind of push you to put a college on there. Would you recommend that I take that off there, or
no? You said you
or edit it? Because I didn't put that I have a bachelor's degree. But
yeah, no. If you have two things, you said you had half the credits to a bachelor's degree. That's fine. That in my book, you went there. The school, the first undergraduate school that I went to, Oregon Tech, they didn't have an associate's degree for what I did. So I had so many credits, and my program did not have an associate. So I had 180 credits or 160 credits and no degree at all. I was like, that's crap. So if you have a couple of years, if you have say 60, or depending on whether it's semester school or quarter, if you have half or even close to that over a year, and you can vouch hey, this is what I did, that's totally fine. So you're fine.
Okay, yeah, I have 70 credits or something, 60 to 70.
Yep, you're good. That's perfectly fine. Yep.
Thank you.
Yep.
And I found that talk and posted a link in the chat box because some people were asking about the spelling of the name, and it is. I'll put the name in there too if people want to reach out on LinkedIn. And this is just copied and pasted from the event. I don't know if Snow is a maiden name or an alternate name or something like that, but
yeah, on LinkedIn it's Cara Toronto, so it's pretty good.
Cool. Awesome. So much great information. Does anyone else have any questions for Max?
Yeah, it's great talk, Max. We really appreciate it, and that's really informative for our students.
Oh, I think I see one more in here if you have a moment, Max.
Absolutely.
How would you go about breaking into a fairly closed off industry? For example, this person is interested in game development. This is from Ricardo, but all listings seem to be senior level jobs.
Yeah, I mean, gaming industry is it's tough. It's and I hate to say it, but if you're just starting out, it's going to be nearly impossible. And that's kind of tough love, but it's going to be impossible unless you know somebody within the field and have that in connection. Because of the fact that it was so sexy. I don't know. It was so sexy for quite some time. I'm going to go into gaming, right? All the millennials and all the guys, people my age that grew up with it, all of a sudden, the guys that were smart enough to sack, you guys, not this guy, were I can build these games. And they were building and building. It became this huge thing over the last 10 years, gaming. And it became so big that the market just got flooded. So the entry level is just not there. It's basically they say in some government jobs and different things, like you can't get a job until somebody dies or retires. Like that's kind of how it goes. Like they don't open up because people get there and they stick with it. So if somebody was looking into getting into something that you want to look at, what is that big gaming Vision, or I'm not a big gamer, so it starts with V Vision. So if you move down to those areas like LA, where they have a lot of those big companies that do gaming and this and that, really start trying to connect with, he's in San Diego. Perfect. Yeah. So I would highly suggest starting to network with people, find out where those people hang out. So that's the kind of the key thing to networking. And it's really hard for people in tech typically to do the outreach networking thing, but you want to find out where those people hang out. And you want to know, not necessarily like, hey, I'm going to go stalk them at the bar, or I'm going to go stalk them at a restaurant. But what you do want to do is find out what events they're having, what events do they go to, and literally start introducing yourself. If you really want to get into that, you have to know somebody. Just going through because everybody, it's the cool thing to do.
Yeah,
So,
we have a great person in our network, Kyle, who's given a tech talk before, but he's a Portland person. But I did post the link to that talk, and he does give some advice on networking with game devs here in Portland. But maybe if you reached out to him on LinkedIn, he could potentially connect you with some people in your area.
It's all about who you know.
He kind of said something similar. He's like, you need to just be coming and hanging out and getting to know us. But he was super open to connecting with people.
Yeah, everyone is nice. That's the thing. My biggest thing with these, with networking with anything, it's the fear, and it's I am an introverted extrovert, so I do extrovert very well when I'm forced to do it. But in my personal life, I don't like going up to anyone. I hate it, to be honest. It drives me crazy. I don't understand people that can just go up to strangers and talk. I can't do it. And so it's very similar with a lot of folks but you have to get to know people, and that's just everything. It's key.
And then I think there's one more question. Earlier you mentioned online presence should lean towards neutral. This is from participant Renee. I work with formerly incarcerated individuals getting placed into tech. They have job experience / volunteer experience with organizations that help re-entry folks. They have a lot of rehabilitation experience showing they are great people and learned how to break bad habits, yet bringing up the subject is polarizing to employers at times. Any advice on navigating this?
Yeah, it's tough. Whoa, I was hearing myself.
Oh, maybe it's fine. I'll mute myself.
Okay, I was like, wait a minute, that's awful. Yeah, I've actually worked with a second chance program myself, and so it's very, very difficult. My advice is to, depending on one, look at, I'm sure you have the list of the second chance employers. I would start off with that, and the other side of that is definitely don't hide it. Try to throw, get in front of it. And it's going to be tough. They know that the clients I used to work with, they knew that it was going to be an uphill battle. They need to show, a lot of times it's that second chance program first, and have them, if they're interested in tech. What I used to do is I'd say, okay, what second chance programs are out there so they can get employed, right? What are out there so that they can utilize those? And then what you do is you look at these programs and you say, hey, I've done this school. So it might not be a right away. It's that step. So if they want to go directly into it, it's going to be tough. Not impossible, but tough. So the way that I teach a lot of people, whether they're new in the industry and everything else, it's how do we get there? How do we get to the end goal? The end goal is to being technology, and the end goal is using the skills that you're using now, or that you're learning now. And the way to do that is, again, build the bridge. And the bridge is that second chance program, if there are some available, and seeing if those second chance programs, if those companies also have technology. So what they can be doing is saying, hey, I've also got these tech skills. So maybe they're doing XYZ job, but they're mentioning during the whole thing, yeah, if you need to fix it, guy. If you have this, so if they have a department of IT, so start networking internally within the company that they're working with, or start volunteering with that company to say, hey, I would love to, I know programming. Hey, your website's this, I could actually fix that. So start utilizing the skills that you have within there and just throwing it out there. So putting all that stuff out in the world. Hey, I can fix this. Oh, I can program that. Oh, I can do this with whatever it is. And then that second chance program, then they can start throwing that on the resume. Hey, also did, yes, this is my job, but now on your resume, it starts with saying with the company that hired them. And all it takes is one company with a lot of those people. It takes one company to say they were great. They did everything I wanted. And that's all people, a lot of people that are hesitant to hire folks that are coming from incarceration. They're scared. They're a little nervous because they don't know. And they haven't come out and proven it to anybody else yet. That's where those second chance programs are really going to pay dividends. And like I said, volunteer. If you have anybody that needs some help with that, I would for surely send them to me as well. I'd be happy to work with them because it touches my heart. I know a handful of people that have gone through it, very, very difficult. So if you have people that you have in mind, feel free to connect with me, and I'd be happy to work with anyone that you see needs to get some help from me.
Oh, thanks for that. I wish our rehabilitation system was more rehabilitative and a little less punitive. That's just my opinion, though, and this is where we stop sharing opinions. Always got to sneak one in here and there. Just checking in on the chat box. Charles mentioned that the Portland Free Range Developers is a great place to network with game developers. Lots of thank yous. Matt is saying to Ricardo, the last time I was at GDC, there was a lot of hiring booths and companies looking for folks, but have no idea what level of positions they were trying to fill. And lots more thank yous to you, Max. That's your chat box update.
Wonderful.
All right. Last chance for questions, y'all. All right. Thank you so much, Max. That was wonderful. We will be posting the recording on our YouTube channel. If anyone wants to come back and revisit the talk or share it with someone that they think could benefit. And next week, what do we have going on next week? Oh, we've got Breaking into Blockchain with Robbie Krasinski. So if you're interested in working with blockchain or you have questions about blockchain, NFTs, all that cool stuff, tune in next week and we'll have another great talk. Thanks so much.
Excuse me. Hang on. Excuse me for a second. Did you say Pazinski?
Krasinski, I believe is how it's pronounced.
Oh my God. I think I know that guy from childhood.
Oh, interesting.
Well, he's got his talk next week, and it's really good. So show up for that.
Only
definitely.
one way to find out.
Yeah, I'll be showing up for that.
Right on.
Well, awesome. Thanks so much to everyone that joined us. Thanks, Max. Thanks, Rick.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thanks, Max. Really good.
No problem.